What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Keegan and Company podcast, where it is all around the company we keep. This podcast is powered by Famous Nutrition. Shop online at famousnutrition.com and use try30 for 30% off to feel famously good today. Enjoy the episode. Tim Berkel, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thanks, Keegs, guys. Good to have you. Thank you for having me. Mate, yeah. It's been a while since I've done a podcast, but yeah.
How many potties have you done in your time? Have you done any in-person ones?
Yeah, I've done a few, but yeah, I can't remember the last time I did one, but yeah, just triathlon ones.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's, no, thank you for having me.
Well, mate, I'm pumped. I'm pumped to have you on today. I'm also pumped to have a little ocean swim with you this morning in Currumbin Creek, mate. Spring is just, it's on for us. Hey, what a morning.
Oh, it was an awesome morning. And yeah, as I was telling you this morning, I've never seen Currumbin Creek that clear. And the tide was pretty tough too.
Mate, because we got to Pirate Park, and then because I'm obviously I'm getting into Ironman, which is probably a big reason why I want to have a conversation with you today, mate. But we got there, and I'm kind of getting used to the full body wetsuits. Like, I've been swimming in the pool, which is great, but the Roka, the 2XU, like the long wetsuits, it's kind of like getting a bit used to it. So originally I wanted to jump in the creek with you so we can actually get through maybe a K and a half out in there. And we got in there. It was like the water was just crystal clear. It was like a sheet of glass. The sun was coming up. It wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was just like the most beautiful way to start a day, hey?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it was actually really nice. And probably didn't really need a wetsuit this morning. It was pretty warm. But how'd you find it sitting on my feet? It was a bit easier,
interesting.
Of a draft.
It was interesting you were saying that, because you were like, there was we went down with the current, and on the way back the current was actually really gnarly coming back into it, and you were like, just jump on my feet. And I've never actually done that before. I hear guys and girls say, like, to get the draft, same with cycling. I imagine when you sit on the back of them, you can pull the draft, and we just sit on the feet. It was easier, but you're so quick. So you were taking off, and I'm like still trying my hardest to just to stay on the feet. But I think it definitely does make a difference for sure. Hey.
Yeah, definitely. Trying to like sit on someone's feet or even on their hip, you kind of just ride that kind of their wake, and you get a bit of a draft effect. But yeah, something to keep in mind for when you do your race at the end of the year.
But is it annoying being the one in front, like having someone just tag on your feet the whole time?
Yeah, it's annoying if someone's like smashing your feet, or like it can get a bit annoying. But if you just sit just on their feet and they're not tapping it, then that's kind of fine.
How much of a difference does it make in a full Ironman? Because obviously your background is Ironman. You've been in the game for 2 decades, which I'm super keen to flesh out and go through the peaks and valleys of your whole career. But before that, how much of a difference does it make in a 1.8 4-kilometer swim?
Yeah, depending on size of the group, it can be a massive advantage just sitting in there and just holding feet. But like, you kind of you want to find someone that's like maybe a similar ability, or maybe just a little bit quicker than you to get that kind of draft effect. But yeah, it's massive advantage.
So if you're going into a race, would you know kind of the people that you would want to be in a group with going out?
Yeah, definitely. Like swimming was always my Achilles heel in triathlon. So I always tried to situate myself in a group where I know that maybe they're just a little bit quicker than me, and I can just kind of sit on their feet. But like, yeah, for the swim, it was just hold on for dear life for me. Like, and I would get out and just gassed.
Yeah.
Fully gassed. Like, swimming was never natural to me, and I always had to really work hard at it. So, but yeah, like I kind of just, surround myself with like good swimmers, or got into good squads and just kind of learnt that way. But yeah, it is a good advantage to get in the group.
Is it hard to drop someone if you're at the front? Like, say if you're at the front of the pack and you've got a little group, and you've got someone like me or someone standing on or sitting on the heels or the toes, how hard is it to drop someone if you like really wanted to push and get it away from the pack? Is that something that usually happens?
Yeah, definitely. Like, if you've grown up being a swimmer your whole life, then they kind of always, the good swimmers always kind of got a gap in the swim. But it's just kind of minimizing that gap. But as I said, swimming was never natural to me, and I've had to work hard at my whole life. Towards the end of my career, like I've definitely made some front groups in my career, but it just depends who you had there. And if you had these like really good swimmers, they would always just get out with like a minute or 2 minute gaps. But yeah, I never had that luxury.
But is a minute or 2 minutes, is that a lot over the space of 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours? Because I was talking to Crowe, because Crowe's he's coaching me at the moment for this first 70.3 in Busselton that's coming up at the end of the year. And the advice that he gave me is like, mate, you want to come out of the swim just like fully relaxed, have a nice swim, and then start your race after the swim. Like, we're going into the bike, going into the run, that's when your race starts. But it sounds like you come out of the water hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, for the pros, it's definitely a lot different. Like you can't win the race from the swim, but you can definitely lose it. Like the amount of races that I lost because of my swim was heaps.
What do you mean lose it? How do you lose it?
Like I would have a bad swim and I'd lose 2 to 3 to 4 minutes sometimes, and then it's just hard to make that up. Like the momentum at the front of the race is such a thing. Like,
really?
You've got, like, say the front groups, 5 to 10 guys. You've got all the media around the front group. So you've got all the lead motorbikes or the medium motorbikes. So the momentum at the front of the group, once that's gone, it's gone.
That's so interesting.
And if you're if you're out last or in the second, third group or whatever, you're never catching those guys.
You won't catch it?
No.
But there would be examples of like the same.
Yeah, you have guys who are like Uber bike riders who weren't great swimmers who could always ride through.
Yeah.
But I was never an Uber bike rider. So I would just hemorrhage more time, and then my run was always my strength. But I'd make up a bit of time in a few places, but not enough to get back to the front. But in terms of the age group race or for yourself, then you just want to get through the swim. So if you're not a confident swimmer and you don't want people swimming on top of you, and then you're better off doing your own swim, just getting your own bit of clear water and just getting through the swim. As Crowe said, just get through the swim, and then your race starts on once soon as you hit land.
How is the start of the race? Because I was talking to my mate, Whippet Ryan Clark, he was at Bondi Rescue, has done a heap of tries and Ironmans as well. And he said, mate, it's kind of can be a bit wishy-washy at the start when everyone's running in, and it's like takes me back, because I did a bit of surf lifesaving growing up, and so when
you'll be fine then.
You're going around the cans, elbows are getting thrown around, you're getting clipped, and he's like, mate, that's what it's like. Is there some pros as well?
It's chaos. Like it's like a washing machine. Like everyone's getting kicked, punched, and for me, like, I was in the thick of it. Like I'm not at the front, I'm not leading, so I'm like right in the pack there, just getting hammered. So I always found it really tough, and always had a lot of anxiety around like race starts, and it's like, am I going to be in the group? Am I going to miss the group? How much time am I going to lose? So I always had a lot of anxiety come like race starts, and that the dynamics of the start of the race. But for you, you'll be sweet, mate. If you grew up doing life-saving, you'll be used to it and you'll be fine. So you should get in a nice group and get in a pack. Because you'll save time.
That's so. Is there any examples of like people taking it personally, like in the swim, where it's just like, mate, you sure I was there? I saw you put their elbow up. Like, is there any examples of that? Not really.
Not so much in like my career racing. Like I've definitely been kicked and punched and stuff like that. I've actually, in training, the guys I used to train with down here at Cabba, I got kicked that hard once during a training session that I did like an intercostal thing, and I was literally out of action for 6 weeks. Like,
really?
I got a heel in my ribs that hard that I actually had an intercostal strain and missed 6 weeks. So it can be brutal. I've seen guys with bloody noses, and like I've had my goggles kicked off before.
Yeah.
It can be chaos. But like most of the pros, we all know that you kind of got to have a little bit of space, and we try not to like hit each other. But there's been people where there's been blow-ups and fights and stuff.
It's so interesting because like from the outside looking in and coming into this space and coming into this sport, it's like I don't see it as a contact sport, especially coming from a rugby league background.
Yeah.
And so coming around the can and you're talking to Crowy and a few guys are like, yeah, no, it's like, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah,
like,
it's definitely, you know, it's tough. Yeah.
Mate, take me back to growing up. Like where'd you grow up? How did Ironman even come into your space? Were you playing other sports growing up? What did it look like for you?
So I grew up in a town, Albury Wodonga. Yeah. I don't know if you know it. Yeah. So it's a border town. I grew up there. I grew up playing different sports, but my main sport that I played when I was younger was AFL footy. I'm a mad footy head.
Yeah.
But I wasn't very good at it. I sat on the bench a lot. But how I got into triathlon was a couple of footy buddies. We did a triathlon in the summer to like keep fit, and I just kind of got hooked and started to get into it a bit more. And then I went down the rabbit hole and started watching this Ironman stuff, and I came across this Ironman in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It was the Ironman World Championships, and the one I watched was an Aussie guy, Greg Walsh.
Yeah.
It was in the '94 Ironman World Championships, and he was the first Aussie to win it. So that's kind of how I got hooked into it. And
how old were you then?
I got into it when I was about 16. So I kind of I was playing footy and doing a bit of umpiring and stuff like that in the wintertime, and then come summertime I would do triathlon. So I did that for like 3 or 4 years, and then I started to get a few okay results like locally. And then I got a coach, and he was like, you know, you've got a bit of talent. If you want to take it serious, you kind of need to train all year round and, you know, get rid of the footy and all these other distractions and stuff like that. So I did that. I committed fully to triathlon and started traveling down to Melbourne and do this like a junior elite series. And I wasn't a great swimmer back then. And so I'd always come out like last. Yeah. And then I would kind of like claw my way up. But I was still getting pumped at like the junior elite level.
How did you see your performance change from just knocking around in the wintertime versus going full-time training? Like, did you see much of a difference?
Oh, huge difference. Yeah, from like when I did my first kind of winter training, like doing base miles. Yeah. When I did like a real solid winter of just like base Ks, I noticed a big difference in my aerobic capacity and my fitness went up. And then so I started, big improvement from there. And then I was getting pumped in this junior elite series. And my coach at the time was like, don't really think the short course stuff is suited to you. I think you got this good aerobic engine. I think you'd be better suited at the long distance stuff. So that's when I started doing 70.3s, or it was half Ironman back then. Yeah. And then I started to I never really kind of won my age group, but I got a lot of seconds and thirds and stuff like that. But at the time, my coach was like, let's just, the best way for you to improve is let's just throw you in the deep end. And he put me in a few pro races. Well, it was kind of like back then it was open elite or something like that. So you didn't need a pro license, but you could just go and do this open wave or open elite. So I did that, and I kind of I was getting pantsed at the start, but then I kind of just with the momentum of the race, I was kind of going 5 to 10 minutes quicker in the pro race than I was in the age group race, because you got caught up in the dynamics of the race. So, and that's when I just kind of started to improve, and then I just keep chipping away. I was kind of I was doing an apprenticeship at the time, and I finished that, and then I quit that to really concentrate on triathlon. So I kind of got just a little part-time job. I had a lot of support from my parents at the time. Yeah. So I would have been around 19, 20 at this stage. And then I really put everything into triathlon. I was just working a little part-time job, and I just chipped away that for maybe a good 4 or 5 years, just kind of battling along. And then I moved up to Port Macquarie in 2006. It started with my coach at the time, Grant Giles, And then, I kind of, with him, I got heaps more improvement and just kind of, I surrounded myself with other pros too. I was like doing training camps up in Lennox and training with guys like Clayton Fattel and Joey Lampion, guys that I kind of grew up with, and and just improved from then. And then went and raced Ironman Western Australia in 2008, and I won that race, and that was my kind of first breakthrough.
That was a breakthrough. What was it about that race? It's interesting because that's the race that I'll be doing at the end of the year. So even talking this morning over coffee, it was cool that was your breakthrough moment. What do you think it was about that race, or even that time of your life, that kind of propelled you to have the success? Was there a few, like, was there a recipe that kind of worked for you, or what do you think it was?
Yeah, like I think moving out of Albury Wodonga, and because in Albury Wodonga I was just training with like older guys, like 40, 50-year-old guys, and I was like 18, 19 at the time. Yeah. And I think moving away and surrounding myself with other like younger pros, and just a different environment and just like a different training stimulus, I just kind of improved. And that was the first year I actually went overseas and did altitude training for the first time.
Gotcha.
So I think coming back from altitude, I was just like had this fitness that I've never had before. And I at that time I was racing everything and everything. I think that year, I reckon I did up to 20 races, which was just crazy. I just raced everything and didn't have heaps of success, but just kind of threw myself in the deep end and kind of got this experience of racing overseas and training with like other pros and stuff like that. But I came back from the States at doing my first altitude training block, and I was just like this like aerobic beast, and I just went to WA and just had no expectations and just had a really good day, and you know, I had this battle with a guy who I grew up idolizing in the sport, Jason Shortus.
Really?
And him and I had this ding dong battle like late in the marathon, and I was only 24 at the stage, and Shorto was kind of like towards the end of not towards the end of his career, but he was pretty late in his career. Like he was like well established. Yeah. And he was like a legend, and to have this battle with him and then to drop him and to win the race by a few minutes was just, it was huge. And I can remember like it was yesterday.
What was the feeling?
Oh, like I remember like, you know, a couple K to go. I'm like running, you know, just this surreal moment, and like the helicopter, like the media helicopter was like flying real low, and this was back in the days when it was in Bernard Park, and it was like the crowd was like 3 or 4 deep along the finish line, and I had my family there, and I had my coach there, and it was just crazy, and it was just so cool, and it was just it was, I can't even explain. It was just an amazing feeling, and to win it as a 24-year-old was huge. It was like not many guys back then were winning Ironmans at that age. Like now it's different. Like you've got heaps of young crew that are, you know, like, you know, the guys that went top 3 at the World Champs this year are all like 26, 27. So, but back then to win an Ironman at 24 was unheard of.
It's almost just like, that moment was so special because, you know, you're super young, you've had the win, but it's probably more special because you've done all the years beforehand, like starting at 16, you know, not like getting thrown in the deep end, you know, just rinsing, like working out with some like younger pros as well, making the move, and to have that win, like that's got to be so cool, man.
Oh, it was amazing. And I never thought that I would I would make a career out of it. Like I just thought it was just like this little hobby, and I didn't know that was any money in it or anything like that. I was just kind of I don't know. I just kind of got into it and just kept ticking along and train. I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed training. I enjoyed being fit. Yeah.
Because I was going to ask, like, why Ironman? Like, what is it about Ironman that's so appealing? Because you were in it for like over 20 years, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what is it about it?
I think like I got into it, like I saw these guys and they were just like so fit and like muscly and like veiny. And I was like, look at these guys. I'm like, fucking crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
these guys human. And that's why I kind of got, like I kind of got into it. I just thought like, how crazy is this? Like guys swimming 3.8K and then riding their bike for 180K and then running a marathon. I just thought that was superhuman. And I'm just like, oh, I want to do that one day. And like I kind of chipped away for a while, and I kind of, like, my coach at the time really held me back, not from doing Ironman, but from like going to the World Championships. Like he was like, oh, you're not ready. You're not ready yet. So I kind of learned my craft first I got some experience, and I think I raced maybe 10 Ironmans before I went to my first World Championships. I didn't do my first, like I started doing Ironman super young. I think I did my first at like 22.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to my first World Champs till I was like 30. So
do you think, was there any times that you put a ceiling on yourself and what you think is possible? Because similar to you, I look at Ironman as something that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Which is like why I'm keen to do it.
Yeah.
And I think we can build our capacity and we can increase the level of our ceiling. But I look at something like doing a marathon for me was just like insane and so hard. But then you look at doing a marathon after a 180K ride, after a 3.8K swim. And for me, like same thing, these guys are superhuman.
Yeah.
Like it's an insane feat. Were there times where you had a ceiling, you thought you had a ceiling, but then you broke through that ceiling, you realized you do more?
Yeah, it's mental when you think of that. But yeah, I was definitely, early in my career, I was definitely very scared of the distance. Yeah. And I think there was a lot of races that I probably raced a little bit too conservative instead of just going out there and like leaving it all out there and just see where you end up. So I was always really big on pacing and make sure I was like on top of my hydration and nutrition, because I was like scared of the distance. I was scared of going in the red zone. But I think later on in my career, like just the level just improved. And you actually got to race it now. You actually got to go in the red zone. Yeah. If you want to be in the race, you got to go in the red zone at the start of the swim. You got to go in the red zone at the start of the bike. So I definitely, later in my career, I definitely wasn't as scared of the distance or didn't have a ceiling on it. But yeah, early on in my career, I definitely did.
Where does your head go when you're in the red zone? Because it's hard. Like you're maxing out, heart rate's probably 180, 190, like maybe it is for me anyway. But like, where does your head go when you're in the thick of it?
Yeah, definitely chewing a lot of my stem on my bike. Just like, I'm like, fucking ease up. My head's gone in some weird places during an Ironman, just depending on how the day's going. I've had some days where you're just having one of those days and you're like thinking of your victory speech. You're having one of like such a good day. But I've also had some dark days where I'm just like, I want this to be done and I just want to quit. I've had a lot of Ironmans where I'm just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I just want to quit. But I think it's those days when you like really stick it out. They're the most days that you're proud of, and the races you're proud of. Like I've had some dark days where I've just wanted to pull out, but I'm just like thinking of my son, thinking of my boys, or just things like that get you through, thinking of your family, and then you grit it out and you get through the day and you're just like super proud. And you've ended up going all right. You might have had races where I've still got on the podium. Yeah. And they're the races I'm most proud of, because I really had to just knuckle down and just dig deep and just get the job done. But
is it a matter of like thinking that you're not going to be able to have the performance that you want to, grit it out, and the fact that you got through that stage? Is that what it is?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I like towards like probably like the middle of my career, I kind of just tried to like not worry about outcomes, not think about I always just tried to stay in the now. Control what I could do in the now.
Interesting.
So I'm like all right, I'm think about my, like if I'm in the swim, think about my breathing, my stroke, give the feel for the water. And same on the bike, just worrying about your position and just control the controllables really. So and that kind of really helped, and like doing a lot of visualization of like picturing myself in certain situations in the race. And I think that really kind of helped for races and like stuff like I did during like, especially like races like the Ironman World Championship.
Yeah.
Like I remember not my debut year, but the second year, because I went really well in my first year, and then the second year, I kind of was kind of one of the favourites to do well, and I had so much. I put so much pressure on myself, and I was also there in Kona with Giant. We just will release the new Trinity. So I had is that a
bike?
Yeah, it's a bike. That's their time trial bike. So I was part of the launch of the new bike, and we were launching in Kona, and I don't know, I had a lot of media around it, and I just felt a lot of pressure to do well. Like in my debut year, I was 7th, and I was probably in the form of my life. I was fittest I've ever been, and I probably came a lot from myself, pressure and expectations on myself. But I just fucking crumbled, eh? Really? Like the nerves, I've never had a race where the nerves really got to me. I think the night before the race, I slept for like 3 hours. I was just so nervous. And even like race morning, I was just a mess. And I've never been like that ever before a race. And I ended up having a good swim. I was in the mix of it up the front of the race for most of the day. About 140K, I just my back just gave out, and I went from being in the front group for the last 40K. I lost like 8 minutes.
Wow.
And I got off the bike, and I was just a mess. And I ended up walking the marathon and finished in like 10 hours, and finished like I think I was like 35th or something, like way down.
Yeah.
And I was just a mess, because I planned my whole year around this one race.
Yeah.
And I just didn't really know how to deal with it. It was like a failure, and I just went and boozed for like a month, because I just didn't really know how to deal with it. But I ended up coming out of it, and it was all fine.
What were the learnings? Because you said like afterwards, obviously really gnarly, like boozed for the month afterwards. What was the turning point? What was the part? Like, what were the learnings that came out of it?
I think just kind of to deal with the pressure. Like I kind of learned that later on in my career that pressure was a privilege, and I didn't really know that before then. I just kind of learned how to deal with it a bit more, and I didn't put so much pressure on myself after that, and just kind of dealt with it a little bit better. But yeah, that's kind of stage of my career, I was super serious with it. Like it was like I put all my eggs into that basket, and after that, I tried to like change that. I tried to have like a bit more of a balance in my life, and tried to have like other hobbies or other interests in what I was doing. But yeah, after that, I learned a lot from that race.
It's interesting when you say pressure is a privilege, because one of our first episodes with a guy called Matt Horton, who's a Olympic gold medalist swimmer. Won, I think it was Rio, I think it was Tokyo, maybe. Okay, I can't remember. But he's
done a triathlon. He did Ironman Sunshine Coast, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe last year.
He's right into his riding skiing. He's a legend, best dude ever. But he was like episode 1 or episode 2 for us, and he talked about pressure as a privilege when he called out one of the other swimmers for being a jug cheat. Remember that? Yeah. And he said from the semi-final to the heats to the final, he had so much like media pressure on him. He's just like, the whole thing is like, did I do the right thing? Like, is this part of my base? Is this who I am? Should I have done this? Should I have not? It's so much pressure. And then also the pressure to compete as well. And so you say, but the cool thing, and the thing that I learned from him was just like, pressure's like kind of like, it's like having a newspaper. Like you can pick it up and you can read it, or you just put it under your arm and like kind of get on with it. And once I heard that, I was just like, yeah, that's so true. Like
100%.
fully
I like
mindset thing, right? Like, and I heard that, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to take that, because it is a privilege to be in the spot where you've got to you got all these people like kind of like looking at you and what you're going to do, but it's the outside pressure, but it sounds like the pressure that you put on yourself is more gnarly.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh, definitely. I think, yeah. And I would hate to be at that Olympic level, and like, swimming's like a, mainstream sport.
Yeah.
Media that it gets is huge, where triathlon's still like a bit of a niche kind of sport. But yeah, I couldn't imagine it at his level, that Olympic level. It'd be insane. But yeah, no, I like that. I like that. Yeah,
mate. There's something that I want to do, something that we haven't done on the podcast yet, but it's something that I would like to start doing. Your career, you were there for over 20 years. There's this concept called like a rosebud thorn. So like rose, career highlight, like something that you were pumped on.
Yeah.
A bud, something that is growing. So like growth, or something that you're kind of interested to explore. It might have been now, it might have been throughout your career.
Yeah.
And then a thorn. So something that was really tough to get through, maybe something that was a challenge.
Yeah.
What's your rosebud thorn for your career? And that might be hard because there's probably so many ups and downs.
Yeah.
But is there ones that stand out?
Definitely in my career, there's more downs than ups.
A couple more thorns?
Yeah, definitely a lot. I think like the thorns were like late in my career was being away from my family, like my son. Like I used to spend 6 months in Australia and 6 months in the US.
Mm.
And when my son was born, I traveled less, but still like being away from him, like I probably only went away for like 6 weeks at a time, but still 6 weeks is a long time to be away from your like newborn. I always found that pretty hard to deal with. Yeah. So I wish I was in a situation where I could take my family, like I was a bit more financial setup and I could take them away. I reckon that would have been heaps better. Yeah. So that's probably been a thorn, being away from my family. Even like late in my, like towards the last few years, like going away for like training camps or races for like a couple of weeks, I always struggled. Yeah. But the highs were definitely like, I didn't have heaps of wins in my career, but like definitely the wins I did were definitely like a massive high.
What were the standout? Yeah. What was the standout, do you think?
I think like winning the Asia Pac title was up there.
The one in Cairns?
Yeah, in Cairns. That was huge, especially the way I did it too, like getting off the bike with...
Tell me how it unfolded.
Yeah, so for me, I had a pretty good swim that day. I lost a minute to like the good swimmers, but the front group was pretty solid. It was like 5 or 6 guys. I lost a bit of time on the bike, but I got off the bike from a mate of mine, Clayton Fattel. Like I was 15 minutes down, and there was a few good bike riders in front, like Luke McKenzie, Pete Jacobs, who was a former world champion. There's a few good guys in front of me. Cam Worth, there's another guy who's going pretty well on the circuit now. So I was like 15 minutes down, and I honestly didn't think the win was within reach, but I'm like, maybe I could salvage a third or a top 5 anyway. I just got off and I felt amazing, and I was just like running at a decent click, and the guys were just coming back to me really quick, and then I was getting time splits to the front, and I was taking massive chunks of time, and I'm like, holy shit, maybe I'm in a good shot at the win. Yeah. And then I end up taking the lead 18K into the run. So it was pretty early to take the lead. And then after that, I just didn't look back, and I won by 4 minutes.
Do you ever look over your shoulder? Like, is there someone sitting on my tail? Like, is there anything like that? Just in your own...
getting time splits from like my team and stuff. And I was just having one of those days where it was just coming to me easy. Yeah. I felt really good, and I was just cruising along, and and that ended up being like my first. That was probably my biggest title ever won, biggest payday. Yeah, and it was just it was a good day. So yeah, but yeah, I won Ironman Australia too, and that was up there as well, because I spent a good time in my life living in Port Macquarie because my folks live there, so it's kind of like a hometown. Yeah. I've got a lot of friends, family there. And so to win that race in 22 was huge as well. Yeah. All my Ironman wins were pretty special.
Tell me about Kona. because everyone that I talk to, like they talk about Kona as being like Hawaii being the biggest and the best Ironman. I think it was 2014. You got 7th.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is Hawaii just renowned for being like just a beautiful race?
Well, I've got a love-hate relationship with the island now. I've done it 7 times, and I've had more failures there than success. Yeah. But yeah, my best Kona was my first year, my debut year. Yeah. I went there as a naive 30-year-old. And I was just, the first year I went there just for the experience. I had no pressure. I just like went to this island, like grew up like watching it and that was the pinnacle of our sport. So I always wanted to get there and race there. But the first year I just wanted to go experience, and I ended up having had a wicked day.
Do you think you had a wicked day because there was no pressure there? You just wanted to go out and enjoy it?
A big part of that, I think that's true. Like, and I remember like late in the run, I ran up to 4th, and I hit the Energy Lab, which is like famous, like it's famous part of the run course. It's like no wind in there, and it's like real hot. Sure. Anyway, I hit the Energy Lab there with Jan Frodeno, who's like the goat of our sport. He was his first Kona too in 2014. Anyway, he had a penalty that day in a mechanical, but let's leave that out. I was running with him. Yeah. And him and we ran together for maybe 14, 15K, and I was just in awe of running because he was the man.
Do you ever like have conversations when you're running, or is it pretty straight?
Well, we chatted, we said a couple of things to each other, but one thing I remember, he actually we're running along and he just dropped his guts a couple of times and farted, and we had a bit of a laugh about it. But yeah, he ended up dropping me during the Energy Lab, but I was like 4th, 5th, like late in the marathon with maybe 5 or 6K to go. Then I just hit the wall. Yeah. And I was kind of lights out, and I'm like, just hold on to top 10. Anyway, I held on to 7th, but it was awesome. And it was a game changer. It was a game changer in my career. The following year, like all my sponsorship contracts all tripled.
Really?
I was finally, for the first time in my career, was making some good money.
Wow.
So yeah, it was an awesome experience. And then obviously going back the following year, I had that bit of pressure as one of the guys that would, a favorite kind of thing to do well there, and I went horribly wrong. But yeah, I went back another 7 times after. I ended up doing it 7 times, and just had misses, just had bad races. 2016 I was 19th. 2018 actually had a good day, but I got a penalty.
Yeah. How long is a penalty?
It was 5 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah. So if I didn't get my penalty, I would have been 4th.
What was the penalty for?
Blocky.
Yeah.
Yeah, the groups, that year the front group was 20-something guys.
Yeah.
And I was towards the back of it, and it kind of bunched up, and then, you try to pass, and then you're blocking someone from pass. Anyway, about 5 of us got penalties that day, but I ended up finishing 12th. So I had a good run, but that was one of those weird days that it was not that hot and not that windy. The real windy days are the days I struggled. I always struggled on the bike and Kona, especially going up Harvey. I was always all right. I always kind of tried to position myself. So Harvey is this climb. It's kind of 15 or so K, gradual climb up to the turnaround, and then you turn around, and then you got this gnarly descent. Yeah. Anyway, it's super famous for being real windy out there, and you get these bad, gnarly crosswinds. I've never experienced it in race conditions, but I remember being in training, going up there, and you're literally leaning over into the wind. It's that bad. Guys have had to get off their bikes. I had to get off my bike and jump in the car that day. It was gnarly, the winds. Right. And you'd be riding along, and there'd be cutouts in the mountain. You could just see guys just go and just get blown to the other side of the road. Heaps of guys have crashed. Man, the trade winds out there are just, it's crazy. And we've never had a real super windy day. But the days that were windy were the days I kind of struggled on the bike and lost heaps of time. Yeah. So I'd always get up to Harvey in a good position. But on the descent, being a lighter guy, I always got dropped on the descent because there's bigger guys would just smash this descent and then I would kind of lose contact. So I ruined a lot of my races on the descent from Harvey. But my last Kona was in 22 and I had a horrible day.
Yeah.
Same thing. I just struggled on the descent, blew up, lost a massive chunk of time in the last kind of 50, 60K. And then I was running all right. And then the last 10K, I end up having to walk and finishing like 9 hours. And I said, I'm done with the island, never going back.
Isn't that professional sport? Hey, like the peaks and then the valleys. Isn't that just sums up professional sport?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And mate, you're like we mentioned, like you've been in the sport for so long. A big thing I'm keen to talk about is like your longevity in it, not only from a physical point of view, but also from a mental point of view. Like, how do you stay in something or stay in love with something for so long?
Yeah, good question. Like, I raced professionally for 20 years and I've done 43 Ironmans.
Man.
Yeah. So I think I was pretty lucky. Like I always had great sponsors. I always had a great support crew and a great network of team around me. So I think that kind of like kept me in the sport for the time I did because I had that great support and that great network. But I was also like, I was pretty like towards like probably midway through my career, I was pretty good at balancing it. Like I'd switch it on when I need to switch it on and then I could switch it off. Yeah. So I think that kind of helped the longevity of my career. Yeah. So when it was time to take a break, I could just fully switch off and, go do something different. And then when it was time to get back to work, I could get back to work. Yeah. So, I was pretty lucky through, early in my career, I never really had injuries. Like I had one bad stress fracture that kind of wiped me out for 6 months, but the injuries didn't come till like late in my career. The last kind of few years is when probably the last 2 years is when I've really started to struggle with injury. Yeah. So that set me back and I missed a lot of racing. And as soon as I started missing a lot of racing, I just wasn't making money. And definitely the last kind of 2 years of my career, my sponsorship wasn't as good as it was back then. So that made it tough, and the financial aspect made it tough. And then, and that's kind of when I'm like, it's kind of time to.
It's interesting to me in space, hey, because like you guys, like you're relying on prize money and sponsorship money, right?
Yeah.
And you got to put food on the table.
Yeah, I got a family, so it was easy when it was just myself. Like, I could live on a shoestring, but now, I've got a mortgage, I've got 2 kids to look after, so that definitely made it a lot tougher and definitely made my decision to retire easier.
And how is it sitting with you now? Because I remember we had a conversation on the phone, and just for context, like my background, like for the last couple of years, I've been helping NRL players transition out with the Rugby League Players Association. So I've seen a lot of guys transition out of professional sport, and it comes with its own challenges. How's your transition out been?
Yeah,
obviously, given that it's so fresh.
Yeah, and so it's only probably been. I've kind of been thinking about it for a few years now, but I've only really fully committed to it maybe the last kind of 10 weeks. Like I've fully retired, and I've only recently just told sponsors and stuff like that only the last kind of couple of weeks. I haven't announced it yet. I've kind of tried to think of what I want to say about it and to put it into a post to officially kind of announce it, but. I don't know how it's sitting with me at the moment. Like at the moment, it's all kind of fresh and something new. And I've just kind of been keeping myself busy with my family, and I've started a job and keeping myself busy with that. But watching the World Championships was on a couple of weeks ago. I definitely, part of me was like, I miss it. Yeah. And I wish I was there. But then a part of me was like, thank fuck, I'm not there. The game's changed. Like how quick they're going now is insane, and how you can't have a weakness. Like they're such good swimmers, and then they're biking really well. And then they're running these super fast marathons. So I'm like, thank fuck I'm not there.
Yeah.
But like I miss the process. I miss training. I miss like traveling, and I miss that side of thing. And I feel like, you know, triathlon was my identity for like most of my life. And now I'm not doing it. It's kind of like a big part of my identity gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, I honestly, I don't know how I feel about it. It's still kind of fresh, and I've just kind of been keeping myself busy. But
I think it's easy to have this conversation when you're a couple of years down the track and you've kind of been through the process, because it does take a couple of years for guys to transition out and
find their feet.
And it's nice to have that wisdom a couple of years down the track after going through it. But it's very rare to have a conversation like this when you're actually still in it. And you're still navigating through it. And I'm curious, because I'm wondering for you, I was like, well, do you replace that? Like, because obviously Ironman was such a big identity. I think it's great to have layers to a person. And you said you're your family and you're interested in other things, which I think is really cool and really impressive. But do you think there's some other purpose, passion that you want to explore now that you've got more time?
Yeah, I kind of don't know what that is yet. But yeah, there's definitely, I definitely would like, I still want to stay fit. Like I still want to kind of do something. I just don't know what that is yet. But I kind of knew this day was coming. I started thinking about retirement maybe a couple of years ago. And then I I reached out to other pros, like Crowe is one guy I chatted to about it, and some other pros that have, retired. So I definitely chatted to other guys and kind of got advice there. But yeah, in terms of like doing something else, I just don't know what that is yet. But I'm sure it will come soon. But
more time with your young boys as well.
That's definitely the priority. Like a big part of wanting to retire is I want to spend more time with my boys. And I've got my youngest is 1 now, and I just want to be a bit more present and around for him growing up. Where with Hendrix when he was younger, like I missed a lot of that. Like I was around, but I wasn't necessarily present. Like you're training for these Ironman, it's just a lot of brain fog and like just kind of just walking around in a daze. You're just so just wrecked from training. And you'd come home from like a 5-hour ride, and then you got your son like, let's go to the beach, let's go to the thing. And I'm like, I'm a bit tired. Let's just, let's play with the Lego. So I want to do that. I want to make it up to the boys. And Hendrix is right into like camping and fishing and, mountain bike riding. So we've been doing heaps of that, and I've been keeping busy with that, and I've just been loving every minute of it. And now Billy's 1, and I want to start taking him on adventures and stuff like that. So
Matt, imagine like the little, like, because you're camping now, imagine like the sick little camp spots that you guys can bounce into. That's so sick.
So I bought a camper and started to do a few trips with the boys, and they love it. So definitely want to start doing heaps more of that.
Man, I've got a typically on these podcasts we get like voice memo questions from mates and mutual friends. So I've got one for you.
Yep.
Hey, Daddy Berks, it's Matty out of DA. I got a couple questions for you. Number one, how's that footy career of yours go? After you trial and pre and mate, I've seen a bit of footage from you in Byron Bay playing Chasey, playing footy Chasey, and it's looks like you'd be well suited to a Bombers jersey, mate. They might need you in the next crew. And then also, on a more serious note, is there anything that you would redo or any regrets that you have in your triathlon career? When you look back now that you wish you could have done differently, or maybe dealt with setbacks or something in a different way. Cheers, mate. Talk to you later.
Great man.
How's
great man.
My man crush. I love Matty.
It's a beautiful man, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he definitely towards like the end of my career, when I lived on the Goldie for a couple of years, I definitely got to train with a lot of those guys, and that definitely fired my passion for triathlon again. Training with all these young guys like Howes, Matt Roberts, Soz and these Gold Coast boys. And I actually really enjoyed training with them, and it kind of got the fire in my belly burning again. So I really enjoyed, training with those boys. But yeah, my partner Caroline calls it my midlife crisis.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to play footy when I was younger. Anyway, they fired up the comp in the Northern Rivers Cup again, so they got this going anyway. So Lennox Saints started a team, and so my son was playing for the Ballina Bombers, the junior side, and one of the dads was on the committee for the Saints, and he's like, "Why don't you come down and have a kick?" So it just started going just to turn up to a couple of training sessions and just have a kick, and and I'm like, yeah, I might have a kick and have a play, but I loved it, but I got hurt every game.
Yeah.
I got crushed in the ribs, and there's a few little biffs and stuff like that. Yeah. It was sick, but yeah, I sat on the bench a lot, and I missed one game, but I enjoyed it. I almost kicked a goal in my last game, but yeah, it was so much fun. So much fun. I actually might go around again next year.
Sick.
So yeah, it was cool.
And the second part of the questions?
The second part, regret. Yeah, it's probably for as I said, my swimming was my Achilles heel. So I wish I kind of early in my career, I wish I learned how to swim properly and actually concentrated on that a bit more, because I reckon I would have done a lot better in my career if I actually was a better swimmer. So, dealing with that and dealing with pressure and stuff like that, I wish I kind of addressed a little bit more in my career. And I kind of wish early in my career I was a little bit more serious, like I took it a bit more serious.
Yeah.
And not got on the beers so much. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely like, I don't know, it's changed a lot now. Like back when I was doing it, it probably wasn't, guys didn't really take it as serious, which I kind of did that a little bit better. But they're probably my two things I regret when I was younger. Probably, just kind of really committing to like a swim block and learning to swim properly and being a little bit more professional with it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Man, I love that. There's so many great learnings. Yeah. And to be honest, man, I'm taking these learnings from you now as I enter like my first race at the end of this year. Any tips for me? What have you got? You've won Busselton before.
Yeah,
have you got any tips for me as I enter my first race?
I definitely, probably the tips I could give was really have a good nutrition plan.
Yeah.
And really have a good plan when it comes to pacing, especially because it's going to be your first one.
Talk to me about nutrition first, because what would that look like for? It's obviously, I imagine it's probably different from like a pro like yourself versus someone who's coming into it, or is it kind of pretty similar? What would a nutrition?
When I was younger, the science to nutrition definitely wasn't around.
Yeah.
Like we were very blasé about it. I think the first Ironman I ever did, I ate dates.
Yeah.
Like,
was that not good? Because I love dates.
Yeah, I definitely don't eat dates. Like back when I did my first one, I was eating like solid foods and stuff. Like where the sports nutrition science has gotten heaps better now. Like, it's very calculated. You can go and do like you can do a sodium test now to see how much sodium you lose, and you can like, you can replace all that and know your numbers now. So you need to know exactly what you.
So what you're saying is that I could go do a sodium.
So you could go do like a sweat test to see how much sodium you lose, and then like Busselton can get quite warm, so it might be something you could look in doing just to see. Are you a big sweater?
Yeah.
So then it's definitely something worth doing. And
so I'd have just like an extra bit of salt like every hour. Like would you go every hour have like a whatever type?
Yeah, so you've got like most hydrate, like you need like a like a good like most of them like good like a carb drink that has sodium and stuff in it now. Same with a lot of the gels now. So you could go, like back early days, we would probably go on the low end of like, you'd kind of go like per gram per your body weight, where these days they're going real carbohydrate heavy. Like, the pros are doing like over 100 grams an hour now.
Yeah.
Where back in back in my day, I was probably doing half that.
Yeah,
like
because I didn't even know that you could drink carbs.
Yeah,
Has
so,
no
yeah,
idea.
Yeah. So yeah, like guys have got 100 to 130 grams of carbs in one bottle now, which is it's heaps. Even I tried to go carb heavy like late in my career, and I still kind of struggled. I always found it. I got very I could get it in all during the bike ride, but then I got onto the run and I had so much carbs that I was bloated. And then for the marathon, I could barely, I wasn't getting anywhere close to like, I was trying to go like 90 grams. So I wasn't even getting on that on the marathon. So I was just kind of trying to get what I could stomach, really. So
Did you have any solid foods, or is it all pretty much?
No, I kind of stay away from solids now.
Yeah.
At the pace that you'll kind of be going, you could probably have you could have like a bar or something on the bike.
Yeah.
But I would do majority of your fueling on the bike because
Yeah.
your heart rate's a lot lower, so you can stomach it better.
Does it matter doing it early in the bike versus later, or just kind
Oh yeah, as soon as you get on the bike, I'd start fueling. Yeah. So for you being a bit of a bigger guy, you could definitely try to go that 100 grams an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get there's heaps of carb drinks out there now that have like your have your fuel and your sodium all mixed into one. So you just start stipping on that, and then you got to kind of wash it down with water and stuff as well. But you could they've got gels as well where you can have gels, and then you have your hydration mix and then water as well, like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to see like different setups where you've got like 2 bottles on the back, like one on the front, and then just gels wherever you can manage them, right?
And the other one is to have your equipment dialed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're on a time trial bike yet or not.
Not yet. We're waiting, hopefully waiting for something to come in. I've just got like a secondhand one that I've just pushing on. But I've only been on a TT bike like once before. But I'll have one for Busselton for sure.
So once you get that, getting properly dialed on it with a bike fit, you want to be comfortable on it, and you want to be best positioned on it so you can go fast on it. Because Busselton's a flat course, so you're going to be in your TT position the whole time. So you want to make sure you're dialed and you're comfy on it. So every time you get off your bars, that's just slowing you down.
Sure.
So you want to be dialed in your position, So 2 good things if you want to go quick is be dialed with your equipment and good nutrition.
And I imagine being comfortable in that position as well, because
you got to
he's sitting there for hours. Like, I don't know, for me, if I'm sitting in a seat for so long, my back gets sore. So is it just a matter of like time on the bike?
Yeah, it's just doing time on the bike. Riding that TT position as much as you can. I don't know if you have a smart trainer, just set up on that. So set up on that and just spend as much time as you can riding the TT position.
You mentioned race plan.
Yeah.
So what even is a race plan? How do I even look at that?
So you want to this is something you'd sit down with Crowy to work out. You work out what times you want to do for each, and then you obviously pace it at that. So you don't want to get in the swim and just go balls to the wall and just lactate straight away and blow up and then just ruin your day. You kind of want to you want to position yourself well. You want to be in a group. You want to be on feet. But you want to be within yourself. You might want to keep it in a certain heart rate for the swim. And then you get on the bike. You think about your fueling. You think about, okay, for the 90K, I want to sit between this heart rate and this heart rate, or this power.
Yeah.
So you just sit on that, and you try not to spike that too much. So every time you spike it or you go above your heart rate, you're eating into your glycogen store, which you're going to need towards the later end of the race. So pacing it, so it might be for you, might be a certain heart rate you want to sit on, or power, or whatever it is. And then same with the run. You don't want to get off the bike and then run this ridiculous pace that you've never done in training, because you're just going to blow up.
Yeah.
And you've also swam 1.9 and you've just done a 90K ride. So you need to think of that. So you need to pace the run. For you, I would kind of just build into it.
Yeah.
I think if you build into it and you finish the back end of it, you say if you run that, you build into it and you run that last 10K really solid, and even the last 5K, and you finish off strong, you'll be proud of your effort.
Yeah.
But if you get off and you go out too hard, or you bike too hard and you get off and then you have to you blow up and you end up walking the 21K,
Yeah.
you'll be disappointed. So it's all just pacing your effort, fueling, just things you got to think about. Yeah,
man.
But it's a conversation you'd have with Crowie.
As we're
planned.
I was saying, we did a potty with Crowie and his journey, and just like there's just, you know, when you come into something new, there's just so many learnings, especially with Ironman, because you've got 3 different disciplines.
Yeah.
Like you're just focusing on the run, especially like cycling is new to me. Like I've been on like bits and pieces over the last year. So it's, I think that's also what's partly so exciting about it. It's because there's so much to learn.
And like running off the bike is different to just running. Like,
Mate,
you've got this like fatigue. You've been in this position for a few hours and then getting off trying to run and like open up your hips and your glutes. It's something you got to train. So definitely, you know, as you said, you swimming in your wetsuit, definitely do more of that PT position and practice running off the bike. Yeah.
Tim, man, thanks so much for this conversation today, bro. I think it's like, it's been so cool, like not only learning about Ironman, but like learning about your story. Because I think there's so many like just amazing little golden nuggets that like not only I can take away, but everyone who's listening can take away. So mate, grateful for the conversation and grateful for the swim this morning, man. I think it's
you're welcome.
Cool to get to know you, man. It's really cool.
You're in good hands with Crowie. He's one of the best to ever do it, and you got some good guidance there, so you're in good hands.
Legend. Thank you, bro.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks for having me, mate. Cheers.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Keegan and Company, where it was all around the company we keep. This episode was powered by Famous Nutrition. Head to famousnutrition.com and use TRI30 for 30% off to feel famously good today. See you next time.